Congratulations on a fantastic Men Having Babies, February 2021. I can't recall the first Men Having Babies I attended many, many years ago. And just to see you guys evolve into what you are presenting nationally and perhaps even globally today in this virtual format, on this virtual platform is inspiring. I offer you tremendous congratulations. Okay, hello to everybody who is visiting with me this morning. My name is Amelia Demma. I am the founder of Law Offices of Amy Demma. Amelia, Amy, you can call me either or anything else that you'd like. But it is Law Offices of Amy Demma. My name is Amelia Demma. I have been a New York licensed attorney for 30 years. I've been in the field of assisted family building for 18 years, and I am the proud parent of 26-year-old IVF conceived twins. I went through my journey before there were any resources available, before there was access to the internet, before there were networking groups, or so I was sort of out there on my own, finding my way, but I did find my way to creating the family that I held hope for in my heart, and I have therefore committed my professional life to assisting those two who are hoping for a baby but may have a little bit of complexity in their assisted family building. I started my career in assisted family building working for Resolve, the National Infertility Association, 18 years ago when they were headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, where I was living with my then husband, and my then young children. I came on board first as a volunteer with Resolve, working in what it was called then a chat room, and where folks would come and say, hey, I don't know anybody else that's going through infertility, and what do I need to know, and where do I go, and how do I do this? And I moved from a volunteer in the chat room to then diving pretty deep on a federal initiative for IVF coverage. What is notable about that, and side note, I am so thrilled to see that Resolve has partnered in such a significant way with Men Having Babies. I could not imagine a better marriage of two nonprofits with shared missions to get folks to their family of dreams. And so it is so incredibly gratifying to see the continued and growing relationship between Resolve and Men Having Babies. At any rate, I did go from being a volunteer at Resolve to being a staff member engaged in advocacy efforts, engaged in lobbying on a federal level for a mandate for IVF coverage. Sadly, I report that 18 years later, there is still not a federal mandate for IVF coverage. But I will share with you that Resolve has remained committed to that initiative. And such that every year they hold Advocacy Day on Capitol Hill. Usually folks fly in, drive in, take a train in from all around the country to show up on Capitol Hill and meet with their representatives. Last year, and again this year, Resolve will hold a virtual Advocacy Day, meaning you can be heard not only about an IVF mandate, federal IVF mandate, but about issues that are of interest to the gay community and assisted family building. Why am I giving this push for Resolve when on Friday night, Risa Levine spoke with such terrific articulation about Resolve's advocacy work, and then earlier today, Betsy Campbell led a terrific session, and I encourage every one of you to go and visit with Betsy at the Resolve table. But I am taking time out of our session this morning to invite you to join me, if you are a New Yorker, on the New York Virtual Advocacy team. I am the state captain. I served as the state captain last year. We had 40 New Yorkers. Together, we virtually lobbied from the comforts of our home, having had weeks of training. Everything that you will need to be an effective advocate will be made available to you as we lead up to Advocacy Day. It's June 17th, 2021. And this year, I'm hoping not only to have again 40 members on the New York team, let's double that. Let's really be heard. Where does my enthusiasm for advocacy come from, and why am I so passionately encouraging you to join either the New York team or the team in your state? And if you don't know how to access the team in your state, go to resolve.org. If you really can't find that information, get in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with the people in your state. Actually, I understand there are a couple of states without state captains. So if you are interested in leading up your state team, and your state still is lacking a captain, I can hook you up there as well. So stay in touch with me with respect to that. So where does this enthusiasm come from? Well, first of all, I've never let go of it. When I started with Resolve 18 years ago, I have remained a patient educator and a patient advocate. And that's why I'm here today to educate and also participate in advocacy, not only for your family, but for all of the hopeful parents that will come behind you. I am excited to talk about advocacy because of the success that we finally had in New York with the Child Parent Security Act. The Child Parent Security Act is the new advocacy law in New York. It comes into effect next week, February 15th, 2021. It was signed by Governor Cuomo on April 3rd, 2020, passed by the New York legislature on April 2nd, 2020 at 3 o'clock in the morning. By the way, we were thrilled to learn at 3 o'clock in the morning on April 2nd that our bill was on the floor, that both the New York Senate and the New York Assembly passed, and then to later learn that on April 3rd, the governor signed the bill into law with an effective date of 2/15/2021. The bill was introduced by Senator Brad Hoylman, who is a terrific friend of men having babies. In fact, the senator was a part of the Friday evening advocacy event here at Men Having Babies, and he is typically has some presence at Men Having Babies New York and has for years. Senator Brad Hoylman introduced Child Parent Security Act into the Senate in 2012, and Assemblywoman Amy Paulin from Westchester, who is also a terrific friend to the assisted family building community. She introduced the bill to the Assembly in 2012, and both those representatives stayed with this issue for 8 years. Sometimes when a bill is introduced and it is not successful, a legislator may decide that that might not be the best vehicle to reach what was the intention of the bill. They may be distracted by other more compelling issues in their constituency. Assemblywoman Paulin and Senator Hoylman stayed committed to legalizing compensated surrogacy in the state of New York. And with them were a group of advocates, attorneys, nonprofit representatives, patients, prospective parents, together for 8 years with tremendous tenacity and determination. We remained engaged with our legislators in Albany, and this year, next week, we'll celebrate with great success that the ban on compensated surrogacy has been lifted in the state of New York. Now, the Child Parent Security Act does not only address surrogacy, it addresses egg donation, sperm donation, embryo donation, and a path to parentage. It is a complex, dense piece of legislation. It's 42 pages, and even though I've read it a number amount of times, it still takes me hours to really take a deep dive and read the entire piece of legislation. It is complex. That does not mean that you need to master the complexity of the Child Parent Security Act, but with respect to not only legal matters in your family building, but generally more broadly in the strategy that you will take and the approach that you will take to assisted family formation for you, it is important that you speak with those of us who intimately know this legislation. And so if you attended my session yesterday on legal considerations, along with my esteemed colleagues who I hold in great regard, Scott Buckley from Circle Surrogacy and attorney Vicky Ferrara, Connecticut, New York attorney at Worldwide Surrogacy. I've known and worked with Vicky for many, many years. I have tremendous respect for her, and I don't know Scott as well, but I do hold a good deal of respect for him and was grateful to be on a panel with both Scott and Vicky. there was a suggestion by both Scott and Vicki that we proceed with caution with respect to the Child Parent Security Act, and I underscore that. It is new law. There are things that are not yet clarified, but I do not want to dissuade anyone from considering accessing the Child Parent Security Act for your family building. Ultimately, after some analysis and discussion with folks like myself who know the law well, and after you share what your particular circumstances are, it may be determined that you're not going to pursue family building in the state of New York. But I am encouraged that for most intended parents who are New Yorkers who want to match with a New York surrogate, the Child Parent Security Act will be the right path for you to legally establishing and safely building your family. So at the end of my discussion yesterday, I listed a bunch of resources for assisted reproductive technology attorneys. You have heard over and over again from most of the presenters, even clinicians, who have said to you, it is important that you speak with legal counsel who is expert in this area. We are a niche, this is a niche area of law. And so you don't want to be talking about your family law attorney cousin or your real estate law brother-in-law about building your family, either through the Child Parent Security Act or any other state statute. You want to speak to an assisted reproductive technology attorney, and hope preferably somebody with years in the field, because surrogacy and other things are becoming more popular in other states. I hear all the time from law school graduates who want to dive right in, and God bless them. That's wonderful. My daughter's a law student. I wish all the attorneys behind me great success in assisted reproductive technology law. There are folks coming into this area of practice from other areas of law because, heck, it's exciting. And in most areas of law, attorneys wake up in the morning, and I did it for a couple of years. I was a litigator when I first got out of law school. You wake up in the morning, you put your Brooks Brothers on, and you go to battle. And someone wins and someone loses. And the intention is for you to be the victor at someone else's demise. That is not the case in assisted family building. And I understand the appeal and the attraction from attorneys around the country who are either sitting for the New York bar for the first time and becoming licensed attorneys here with the intention of practicing surrogacy law, or attorneys in New York coming from other areas of practice. I applaud them. I embrace them. I give them all of the resources that I can offer. Some I do mentor. But for you today who are about to step over that starting line and begin building your family, please do seek the counsel of someone who's got a number of years under their belt in New York to best advise you on the most prudent, the most conservative, the most cautious, and the most protected way for you to build your family with a third party. And that's, by the way, another reference to assisted family building. We sometimes say third party family building, collaborative family building. In gay family building, it's more than a third party because you've got an egg donor and you've got a surrogate. So again, I've now referenced 4 times, but actually haven't nailed the point. At the end of my presentation yesterday, I gave you a list of resources and directories for accessing attorneys who are experienced and expert in my field. But I want to highlight the New York Attorneys for Adoption and Assisted Family Formation, NYAAFF.com. I am a board member there. That's not why I'm urging that you access NIAF. I am urging that you access NIAF because the 4 attorneys, I was not one of them, but the 4 attorneys who drafted the Child Parent Security Act and who are drafting follow-up legislation to address some of the unnecessary hurdles that currently exist in the law are also members of NIAF. So you're going right to the source when exploring whether or not the Child Parent Security Act is appropriate for your family building. We spend too little time, I think, at Men Having Babies, at least at these conferences, talking about egg donation. I am happy to speak with you about creating your embryos first before you embark on the surrogacy journey. I never bill for consults, so I will have a session. I will be at my table this afternoon, and I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can when you visit with me at my table this afternoon. But if I don't get to you, please do be in touch with me at the office. My office manager, Matt, will put you on my calendar. It is always a gratis consult. And often, quite frankly, we'll find that I'm not the right attorney for you. Suppose you live in Western New York and you're a surrogate, or your family building will happen in Western New York. And while you don't need your attorney to be local, that's something that's important to you. I'm going to get you to the right attorney. If you decide that the Child Parent Security Act just doesn't fit with the plans that you have for your family building and you want to go out of state, I'm going to help you to identify who that attorney may be out of state, or at least make some recommendations or referrals to a couple of attorneys that I would suggest that you speak with. So never a sales pitch, never a bill for the consult. I started this presentation with saying to you that I have always been, and will remain a patient educator, a patient advocate, a parent educator. That's why I'm here today. That's why I spoke on the legal panel yesterday, and that's why I will make myself available to you, to be sure that you're putting together the best strategy for you. And that will be a very unique path. And while I think places like Facebook offer terrific opportunities for intended parents to exchange experiences and thoughts and ideas, your family building ultimately will be a very unique experience to you. So reach out to me as a resource to help you put your strategy together. I would be absolutely delighted to be your attorney and to be a part of your family building team, from the point of identifying an egg donor, creating your embryos, all the way through to the delivery of your child from a surrogate. But if I am not the right practice for you, we will get you there. Law Offices of Amy Demma is proud to participate in GPAP 1 and 2. So if you are considering accessing GPAP, you should connect with Lisa Schuster. She is amazing. She has held my hand to make sure that I am doing my best for the Men Having Babies community. We do offer both pro bono and reduced fee cases through GPAP. So if you qualify and you are interested in working with me, you can let Lisa know that you want to see if we might be a good GPAP match. I guess we have about 20 seconds left, and I'm sorry if I spoke so long. Can you please talk about advocacy regarding New York insurance companies covering IVF and surrogacy? Do you practice in New Jersey? And if not, could you recommend some colleagues in New Jersey? So I don't practice in New Jersey, and yes, I can, and I did address advocacy on a federal level. With respect to New York advocacy, I love the interest in that. And we do have an IVF mandate in place in New York, as Betsy Campbell spoke about this morning. The Fair Access to Fertility Treatment Act was a difficult one to get past, and a lot of considerations, a lot of things were compromised in ultimately getting an IVF mandate in New York. What does that mean? We've got more work to do.